Good morning and welcome to this week's Facebook Live. I'm very excited about this topic. My name is Sarah Jacobson and I'm a startup coach. And that means as a startup coach that I help you get your business started with the very basics. And you can avoid the mistakes that I have made by learning from me. And so if you're watching this live, welcome. Or if you're in the future watching it recorded, I welcome you too. And if you missed my Facebook Lives from the past, you can go into my Facebook group and go to the guide section and check those out. You can also check out my YouTube channel. So today I'm very excited to share with you 3 things that I would have done differently in my business when I was getting started. And originally I wasn't very excited about sharing these things because who really wants to share what mistakes they made? But then I really realized that I could help other people learn from my mistakes and avoid them, saving you money and time and really heartache over starting your business. And so I got more and more excited to share about what my mistakes are if someone else can avoid them and learn from me. So here are the 3 things that I would do differently, and I'm just going to get down and dirty with these 3 things. The first thing is I would deal with all of my personal issues first. In June of 2021, I left my job of 20 years of working in public education, and I thought that I would just simply rest for June and July, which is our normal family rhythm, to take summer break and have some time off. My husband is also a teacher. And then I thought, I'll just get started with my business, go in with a bang, starting in August when the kids go back to school, and my husband's back at work. But I found myself really frustrated and struggling and honestly just banging my head against the wall for months and months and months at a time, really until about January of 2021. And that's because I just had all of these things that I really needed to deal with before I could start my business. One of them was that I really needed to rest. June and July was just simply not enough time for me to rest from 20 years of working and really having not a great relationship with work. So I was just taking all the baggage I had from my old job that I had left behind and bringing it into my new job, which was building this business. And so I wish that I had stepped back and taken some time to deal with some of those issues that I had and getting my own life in order before I started my business. So a couple of those, to be completely transparent, that I needed to deal with and have worked on a lot and now have a lot of good things to share with other people about that are my work and rest rhythms. Not a schedule, not these set times, but these rhythms that I needed to create in my own work and my own rest. I have a firm belief that we work from rest. We don't rest from our work. And I needed to get that straight. I now start my day in the evening. It's biblical if you read the creation story in the Bible that God created day and then he created evening, and evening is when the next day started. So I start my day in the evening and I rest first from my day, and then I go into the next day being rested. That big shift has been a big game changer for me. I also needed to learn how to set some boundaries for myself around this new work, because when you're starting a business, it's very easy to just go gung-ho, working 60 hours a week or, all the time late into the night, so then you're not resting well, or all on the weekends and then you're missing family time. And that's not why I quit my job. I quit my job to be with my family, to have better work balance, to end the day at 3 o'clock when my family came home from school, and be present for them, help with homework, make dinner. And so I needed to get some of those rhythms right. And it's easier to get those rhythms right before you start your business. You can't build that airplane in the air. You've got to build it before you take off. The other thing that I've really had to work on for me personally is my relationship with money and how I viewed money and how I viewed profit in my business and how I viewed charging people for my services, and that I needed to learn that I value myself enough to be able to charge the prices that I do, that I am an expert enough in this area to be able to charge those prices. I needed to move from a poverty mindset of there's never enough and being desperate for money to an abundance mindset, and there's always plenty. If someone else that is doing something similar to me has lots of clients, originally I felt like, well, then there's none left over for me. Well, that's not true. There's an abundance of people who need my services, and when someone else has success, it's success for me too, and there's plenty to go around. So I really needed to work on that money mindset. And then also, I mentioned this before, but also just that rhythm of work during the week. What was that going to look like? I value a nice morning routine. And so what time do I need to get up in the morning to do that morning routine so then I'm ready to work in my business by 8 or 8:30? And then how do I structure my day and my week in order to do the things that I need to do and also have some freedom to do some of the other things, like going out to lunch with a friend that I was never able to do when I was working a full-time job. I needed to create those rhythms in my work week so that I could accomplish everything and go to sleep at night knowing I had done what I needed to do for the day. So I don't know if those are the same things that you need to deal with, but my biggest mistake was not dealing with those personal issues in my own life. For you, it might be needing to address something else. It might be needing to figure out what God has called you to do, and you need to wrestle through that first. Or maybe you need to be like me and you need to rest first before you build this business. Is it that you need to work on your money mindset? Being desperate does not attract clients. And so you really want to get that ready first so that you can attract clients, because you know your worth and you know what the services are that you offer, what the value is for that. Is it actually that you need to step back and learn more about the business that you're trying to build before you get into it? Is there a knowledge deficit there? Is that a roadblock? Don't underestimate the value of addressing these things first before you start your business. They will carry over with you into your business. So that was mistake number one, was not addressing some of the personal issues that I was facing. The second thing that I would have done, and still is probably my biggest piece of advice, is I would have gotten the right help sooner in my business, and I would have hired a coach much, much sooner in my business. I have never heard anyone say, I wish I had waited longer to hire a coach. I only hear people say, I wish I had gotten it sooner. When I first started, I just thought I could piece everything together. And honestly, you can. You really can piece it all together, but it's going to take you a much longer time, and you have a much higher risk of burning out and being discouraged and quitting when you do it on your own. It's much more complicated than it needs to be when you're trying to piece it together, and it will take a ridiculous amount of time. In the end, I have hired a number of coaches over the years, over the last couple of years as I've gotten started. Some I've hired out of desperation because I just knew I needed help, but I didn't really know what kind of help I needed. So I paid a lot of money to hire someone to help me, but then it wasn't really the right decision in the end, just because I was desperate. But in the end, now that I know what I've needed, I've spent good money on hiring coaches that have truly helped me overcome some of the mindset issues that I have, and also have taught me the business principles that I need to go further faster. Having someone who's on this path, who's been a little bit ahead of you, will help you anticipate potential problems that you're going to face. And then also, they're going to help you be able to talk through the roadblocks that you're facing. I think a lot of times in business, we get in this loop of just trying the same thing over and over and over again, but we're getting the same poor results. And that's literally the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over, hoping for a different result. A coach can help you break that cycle, get some fresh ideas, and help you move forward. And without a coach, that really is a very difficult cycle to get out of. They can help you brainstorm new ways to see those challenges, and then help you face them differently, which will save you a lot of heartache. And having a coach not only makes it easier, but it also prevents you, like I mentioned before, from burning out at the beginning and trying to figure it out all on your own. And oftentimes a coach will have a community that you can belong to, and then you're meeting and interacting with other people who are in the same phase of business building as you are, and that is really also very, very helpful. A note about coaches: if you're just starting out, they do cost money, and they're not offering their services for free, so you just need to anticipate that. But that's part of that money mindset, is getting your mind set correctly on, I'm investing in my business so that I can make more money faster and easier. Spending that money early on in your business can be very hard, and I do understand that. But honestly, it is the best investment that you can make. And there are a lot of bad coaches out there, and there are also a lot of coaches out there that are doing things that you don't need right now. And so sometimes it can be hard to figure out what kind of coach you need and what timing to hire them. Like hiring an Instagram social media manager right at the beginning is not what you need to be doing. That's a great coach, and they may be a great fit for 3 months down the road or 6 months down the road, but there are other things you need to do when you're first starting out, so that's not the right coach to hire at that time. So you want to make sure you're hiring the right person for the right need that you have right now. That's a big thing that I would recommend to you. You can expect to spend anywhere from $1,000 to over $5,000 for a coach. If they have been around in the business for a long time, they're going to be charging $5,000 to $7,000 for a 3 to 6 month program to help you, with Instagram, social media, or Facebook ads, or whatever that particular niche is. You can expect to pay that amount of money for a coach. And they cover a variety of topics, and they are excellent, and you will get a big return on investment, a big ROI for hiring a coach. And my biggest advice is just to do it now. Don't wait. If you're thinking about, should I hire a coach? Then it's time for you to do it. It's time to make that step. The third mistake that I would have done differently from the beginning on my business is I would have started networking a lot sooner. Online and in person. When I first started my business, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure. I didn't really have the language around it, and so I was afraid to talk about it. It kind of caused me a lump in my throat. But now that I've gotten clear on what I do, who I serve, how I do it, and I know that I'm really good at it, it's become a lot easier to talk about it, and so networking has become a lot easier. And I wish that I had just started that sooner. Networking, can look like a lot of different things. One of them can be getting into Facebook groups that are in a similar niche to you and just seeing what people are talking about, commenting on posts that people are making, asking questions, and just kind of lurking around and seeing what people are doing in those groups so you can learn what you would like to do or what you don't want to do. It can be friending people in those groups and then talking with them on DMs about what they're doing in their business and seeing if you want to collaborate. You can follow other people on Instagram. This is an easy way to do it, is to follow other people and then start interacting with them. They'll start posting on your posts. You can ask them questions, and then eventually you can do some collaborations with them, which will help you grow your business. The other thing that I wish that I had been able to do sooner was just talk about it with other people. I remember being on an airplane and someone's, saying, "Hi, my name's blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Oh, hi, I'm Sarah." And they asked me what I did, and I just couldn't answer because I didn't have a great answer about what I did in my business. But now that is much easier for me to talk about. I'm happy to tell everyone what I do because I love what I do and I love helping people. And so I would just start that networking online and in person a lot sooner because it's all free. It doesn't cost you any money. And it's a great way to get your business out there, get people talking about it, asking questions. And if nothing else, it gets you more comfortable with talking about your business. So those 3 big mistakes that I just chatted about were, I would deal with my issues first, my personal issues. I would address those, whether it's through therapy or getting a coach, however you need to address those, I would address those. I would hire a coach much sooner, and I would make sure I was hiring the right kind of coach, so I wasn't wasting my time and money. And then I would start networking a lot sooner. So those are the 3 big mistakes that I made that I didn't do early on in my business that I wish that I had. So here's what you can do differently. Do it better than I did and save yourself time. Is take time to do a personal inventory. I cannot express this enough. This step of doing a personal inventory, seeing what you love to do, seeing what you don't love to do, figuring out what you already know, figuring out what you need to learn, and taking an inventory of all of that before you start will help you in the long run. You'll see the areas that you kind of need to clean up in your life first before you start building a business. You can tackle those challenges and mindset dilemmas and other issues you're facing before you start, because here's the thing, those aren't going to magically go away when you start your business. They're actually going to be magnified 10 times over. If you are not someone who has a good routine, that's only going to get harder as you build your business. If you aren't good at managing money, that's only going to be magnified as you start to build your business, and you're going to need to address it early on, or it's just going to be like dead weight dragging you down in your business. So a personal inventory can really, really help with that. Second, I already said it, hire a coach. Hire someone who's been there before you, who can help you get out of that loop of doing the same things over and over that aren't really moving you forward. And if you're thinking about hiring a coach, then you should have probably started that yesterday. So do that. And then network. Part of what I teach my clients is to just start talking about your business. See what rolls off the tongue. If that didn't make sense the first time, then try it again another time. I can't tell you how many different ways I posted in Facebook groups about what I did until it felt natural, and I started to get responses from it. But it's a lot of trial and error, but purposefully done, not just haphazard, but like, I'm going to try this statement about what I do in these Facebook groups for a week and see what my response is, and then try something new the next week. So it's not haphazard, it's a purposeful plan, but it's networking to help you get more confident about your business and to get your business ideas out there. So here are why I think addressing these top three issues in your business very early on are a big deal for you. First of all, you're removing roadblocks. You're literally picking them up, dealing with them, and moving them out of the way. If you leave these roadblocks in your path, you're going to keep bumping up against them over and over and over again. And I have a whole Facebook Live that's in the guide section about roadblocks and how to overcome them. The other thing is that you will be the type of person who tackles hard work first. And that's going to get you farther in your business. If you're the type of person that says, I'm going to meet these roadblocks head on and deal with them, then you're training yourself, your mind, and those around you that, hey, I'm not afraid of tackling hard issues. And that's going to serve you well. You'll train your brain, which is part of this whole building your business process, is you've got to train your brain differently. You'll get the help you need before you get frustrated and burned out. If you hire a coach now, they will help you before you get to that point of desperation and frustration and giving up. They can really be a great cheerleader for you. The other thing about networking is, and why it's important in your business, is you'll have more people in your social network to help you and to get ideas from, and also to start pitching your ideas to them. It's just a win-win to have more people in your inner circle. And then also, all of this is important because you can start learning from other people's mistakes, and that will help you avoid them in the future, and you'll start to learn from your own mistakes and your own roadblocks that you need to overcome, which will help you go further faster. And really, that's the whole point of building the business and doing it well, is to build a business that you love and to get to the point of earning a profit, which is the point of a business, faster and easier. And so all of these mistakes, by overcoming them, will help you be able to do that. So this type of coaching, where someone is giving you advice and knowing where you're headed in your business, is exactly what I do. I love doing it. I love being a startup coach and helping people see the pitfalls that are coming and help them anticipate the problems that they're having, because I've seen so many people out there making these same mistakes over and over, and I just want to help them not have to make those mistakes. And you can really shorten that learning curve and the heartache by getting some help. When I was an assistant principal, I worked at a school that students got into the school by lottery, and that's kind of the way our school district does it, is you get into the school by lottery. And it can be a bit tricky. There's a lot of rules, and every year those rules change, and if you're a new parent in our school district, it can be very overwhelming. Well, many principals in the school district, they try and trick the system, or trick parents, or manipulate parents, or only give parents a little bit of the information about how to get into the school, and they just so that they can meet their enrollment numbers, because you got to meet the numbers to pay the bills, right? So they, kind of do things that are not above board to get kids into the school. But I worked for a principal who had this philosophy: I'm going to give you all the information you need about the lottery and how to get into my school, and I'm going to answer all the questions that you have so that you know that you're doing the whole lottery system correct. Now, she could have lost a lot of students that way, but what she found was that by being completely transparent and open and upfront, most people chose our school to attend. Some people chose another school, and that was fine. She felt good knowing that she had helped them do the process correctly, and that they ended up at a school that they loved. I love that philosophy, and that's the philosophy that I have with my coaching. I love to help people, and if I'm the right person to help you, then I would love to help you. But if I'm not, then I would love to help you avoid some of the mistakes that I made, and I would love to connect you with the right coach. I just believe that if we are honest and helpful and genuine, then God is going to bless me later on, whether you decide to work with me or not. So with that, I just wanted to share that that's my personal coaching philosophy. I would love to help you, but you're under no obligation to work with me. I do offer free 1-hour strategy sessions to help you get started, to see if I might be the right coach for you. And I will drop a link below after this Facebook Live to let you know how you can sign up for them. Again, it's free, and it's just something that I do to help you get going and see if maybe you would want to work with me. And if not, that's great. If you have questions, you can drop them below in the comments, and I will get back to you about those. And if this training was helpful, then I would love for you to share it with other people, invite people to the group, so that we can all learn and grow from each other. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope that by me sharing my mistakes, you can help yourself avoid them in the future. Have a great Monday.